I think we get so much pressure to do things and doing things for the money or doing things to win. But when do we ever just do things for the joy of it? So I feel like that's a big word to spread around this year, is do things for joy. Joy.
Love
joy.
that. Is that your word for the year? Is it joy?
It could be. It could be.
Ho ho ho! Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Woo!
2025. Welcome to our first podcast for 2025.
Of the year.
First one of the year.
2025. 25, that's a good number.
Can't wait. Can't wait for it. 2025.
An old lady.
The fireworks last night, and it was a cracker.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get into the new year.
There's just something magical about a new year, though. It just is. You know, even though you can change your life or change your goals any time of the year, there's something about the collectiveness of everyone starting fresh and new year, everyone being excited and enthusiastic. There's just something magical about it.
Well, welcome to our viewers.
Hello.
This is Chairlift Chats, where we discuss the authentic conversations in everyday life and on the chairlift, which we will be doing.
Yeah, well, we're so thankful to all the listeners who've joined us on the adventure of Chairlift Chats this year. This podcast was imagined because of the amazing adventures we had at the snow, having these great authentic conversations with friends, strangers and family on chairlifts.
Strangers into neighbours.
And being really whoever you want to be in that moment and just embracing being in the moment. Before we get into the rest of this first episode of 2025, let's reintroduce ourselves. Hello, my name is Chelsea Widdicombe, and as always, I'm joined by my brother and co-host,
James Widdicombe. Great to be with you for another year. For 2025 of Chairlift Chats. Can't wait to get into it.
I can't believe that we started this podcast.
Mid-2024?
Yeah, it was the King's birthday long weekend, which is also the opening of the Australian ski season.
Yep. And why did we start the podcast?
Why did we?
I loved it. Well, originally I came up with the name of the podcast, Chairlift Chats, because we were sitting on a few chairlifts down at Perisher, our Australian ski field Alps. And we were just having all these different conversations with randoms on the chairlifts, literally forming relationships and friendships on the chairlift with strangers. And we thought,
that was one of my favourite experiences when we were in the middle on a quad. You and I were next to each other, and we had a guy on our right and a guy on our left.
Yeah.
And we ended up connecting those people together because they ended up living in the same suburb, and they
were like neighbours. So I think that was pretty cool.
It was those kind of moments.
And then we just figured, you know what, there's a podcast in this, and everything else that we talk about, being able to travel and see new people, meet go see new places and meet new people, of course, and just have some fun.
The fun of every day.
That's what Chairlift Chats is all about. But what are we talking about today, Chels?
Today we are reflecting on the year that has been, being 2024, and then we're also looking forward to what this new year will bring as well, and all of that exciting stuff that comes with it.
Beautiful. Well, kick us off then. What was a good win for yourself in 2024?
Well, I have to say the podcast was a big win. I think
have to agree.
Yeah. I mean, it's all well and good to have the idea, but to then actually take action and make it happen, produce it, and everything like that, I would say that is a big win that I'm very proud of. But also, I like to celebrate all the little wins that happen throughout the year, because it's the little things that turn into big things, whether that be getting work done on time or turning up on time to work every day, or keeping your room clean and cooking more homemade meals. All of that counts, and it's so important because that's all about what makes life your life, and when you can learn to celebrate the little things, it makes the big things even sweeter.
Exactly. Well, that's a great win. For me, it was, just getting through I had a lot of surgeries this year and about 3 or 4, and thankfully they all went well. They were all successful, and it was just hard. They just hurt a lot. You know, for those of you that don't know, I had a broken jaw a few years ago, about 10 years ago, and I'm still going through the process. You wouldn't know, I still look amazing. But Had to get teeth redone and all kinds of stuff, as well as eye surgery. So I'm just really thankful that was a good win. I was able to get through that. And, you know, that was also, we've got down here greatest challenges. That was a really big challenge for me this year.
A win and a challenge together.
Getting through that was a battle. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have been in similar situations, if not worse, where surgeries may not have gone so well and they've got a lot of rehab, whatever it may be. But for me, getting through that, it was a great win. Rehab went well. It was all good.
It's the challenges that really build us, though.
Yeah.
Because if you can overcome a challenge, it really makes you so much stronger as a person. And I think it's important. If you don't go through challenges, you can't then appreciate the wins.
No, exactly.
And if everything goes right all the time and then something challenging does happen, it makes it really harder to, go with it and develop it and learn from it. And just, it makes you a better person.
It's that
builds character.
It's that gratitude.
Gratitude.
Comes back to gratitude.
I feel like gratitude can always be a word of the year. It's no matter what's going on in your life, no matter what's happened, like not every day is good, but there is good in every day. Have gratitude for your breakfast in the morning or a tall drink of water or your hairbrush, a good hair day. Really find those little things.
And I just feel thankful that I was able to get these health problems fixed up, because some countries you can't do that. So I'm really happy with that. And obviously launching the podcast, this has been an amazing moment and a great step in life. And I like doing it with you. And it's just been an enjoyable process. And hopefully we've provided some good information for our viewers out there and we hope you enjoy it. Again, keep sending us in any questions or stories that you've got. We'd love to hear from you. And we're very keen for another 2025.
Yeah, I feel very lucky to be doing it with you because not only are you my brother, but you're also my friend.
Ah, well, there you go. Friendships. We've created new friendships this year, and that's another thing that we've loved doing, and it's been great fun. So, what about you, Chelsea? Any major challenges this year?
I would say balance has been probably my biggest challenge of the year because I am an actor, a voiceover artist, interior designer, a retail worker, and trying to balance all of those is a challenge.
Plenty of trades there.
Yeah. I'm doing so much. I'm in so many directions, producing the podcast, and I always want to do the best job at all of those. So it really means I have to be really good at scheduling, organization, and that's a challenge. And I'm still working on it. And into 2025, I will be continuing with that challenge, but it's also good to have something to strive for.
Absolutely. Well, good question to put out there for our viewers. What has challenged you in 2024 and what are you going to be challenged with in 2025?
Yeah,
I think that's a good
it's
question.
really important to look back at your year and reflect because you can often think about a year and go, oh, that was crap or so much hard stuff happened. It's really good to acknowledge that, but also you've made it to the end of the year. You did it. You got here and you've now got the start of a new year to come up with new goals, aspirations, find new motivation. Just don't set too many gym goals in January.
Yes.
I think that's just, don't set yourself up for failure. Set easy goals because it's those little moments that make you feel good, and that's really important. So find yourself, think back in 2024 and think about what your greatest challenge was, but then also think about what your greatest win was. That's if you take anything from this podcast, let it be those two.
Well, I was really proud, and we'll move into 2025 and looking ahead for this year, this new year. I was really proud of the fact that, in 2024, one of the hardest, I set myself a few different goals and I was so happy that I was able to achieve all of them. But not every year I've always done that. Sometimes you have to carry that through to the next year. But this 2024 was a challenging year because I set myself a really, really difficult goal. I was so motivated to get it done. I really wanted to achieve it. And I thought about it every single day. I tried different tactics, everything. And it took me till about the 20th of November before it actually happened.
Wow.
And it was just such an achievement.
Chapter 11 of 12.
Yeah, it was just literally like, you've got to remember you've got 12 months to achieve all these goals. And if you're thinking about something every day, don't give up on it. Just keep looking at your goal and just focus in on it.
Yeah.
And just smash it out, and you'll find that you're pretty strong, and things will just it'll happen for you. I love that.
That's how you know when it's important, when you can't stop thinking about it. I do that with my online shopping purchases. I see something online that I like, and then if I'm thinking about it the next day or even a few days later, I'm like, that's how I know I like it, because I'm still thinking about it. But the same goes with your goals and aspirations for the year. And also your goals and dreams and aspirations can change throughout the year. So if something all of a sudden isn't aligning with you, don't put the pressure on yourself to be like, oh, I had to do this because this is what I told myself I would do. I think the biggest lesson that I learned from, I'm going back to 2024 though, is learning to say yes and learning to say no to things that do and don't align with what I want to do and who I want to be.
Exactly.
That's a really big thing, and that's something that you're in control of. And do not dwell on things that you cannot control. And if you're having problems with someone, realize, take a breath and realize it's probably something that they're dealing with. Don't always assume you're doing something wrong. It's always important to assess how you're feeling and how they're feeling, but just be aware that you're in control of what you do and how you feel, but not others. So always, share that cup of kindness.
Well, I encourage our listeners to do the same thing. Just evaluate what you're going to be doing for 2025, and just, it might only be January, but just think about what you might be on holidays. Just have a think about what you want to achieve for 2025, and just really hone in on what you want to achieve.
Because you are a fighter.
Yes. Yes, we're fighters.
You are a fighter and not a quitter.
Don't be that British Prime Minister that says 2 days later,
I resign.
I am resigning. I am resigning. Don't be that person. You want to set yourself realistic goals.
We jest.
Yes. All right, Chelsea. Well, what are you looking forward to in 2025? And what new places are you going to be seeing? New people you want to meet? New passions? New hobbies? What have you got?
I'm so excited for this year. I woke up this morning with a brightness and a lightness in my step, because the new year, I really do get so inspired by. And as you can do anything throughout the year, there's just something, look, we're even living in the future here in Australia. We're one of the first to say hello to the new year. I think Fiji and New Zealand are just ahead of us, but here we are in the future. But it makes me look forward to new opportunity. I'm really, now that we are in the new year, I'm so excited now for our overseas trip to Korea and Japan. Like, now that the new year's here, I knew we had it booked, but now it just feels so much more real. And just the idea that we're going to experience a new culture, a new skiing and everything like that, it has me so excited. Travel is such a privilege.
It's the best part. And as Chairlift Chats, it's so appropriate that we're going to be riding chairlifts and skiing with the South Koreans and the
It's our dream.
And the Japandis over there in
the J-Pow.
In some of the best conditions. I've been looking at the reports and it looks fantastic.
I know, I've had the weather report on my phone.
It is. I started 2024 in Japan, luckily enough, and I said we have to do it again and do it with the podcast this year. It was that amazing. The snow is just absolute quality, so pure. Freezing cold, but it'll just be great to get into a new culture, speak with some of the South Koreans, try some Korean barbecue.
Yeah.
I heard that's really good.
Yeah.
And also the just the cuteness of the way.
I know, I'm so excited
Japan,
to see all the all like the cute kawaii Hello Kitties and stationery, and just the cuteness of it all. I just love it.
They've got so many different restaurants or like places you can eat along. Tokyo's amazing. It's just it's such a beautiful place.
I was first exposed to Korean culture though, because when I was in kindergarten, my best friend was Korean, and she always had the cutest drink bottles and cutest things, and she would teach me Korean words, which I've all forgotten now, but I just loved that.
And any new hobbies that you've got?
Yes, so in 2024 I got into crochet, and so this year again I want to continue on my crochet journey, but as well as my knitting and sewing as well. I think it's so important to do things just for the joy of it. I grew up dancing, and I always did dancing for fun, and it was all about finding the love of it and getting into the music and really feeling it. And I still love to dance because I never I think we get so much pressure to do things and doing things for the money or doing things to win. But when do we ever just do things for the joy of it? So I feel like that's a big word to spread around this year, is do things for joy. Joy.
Love
Joy.
that. Is that your word for the year? Is it joy?
It could be. It could be. I'm still thinking about my official word of the year, but I really like to have a word of the year because it's an affirmation for yourself daily. You can put it around your house or on your computer or your phone, lock screen or anything like that. But just having a word that is with you all year, whether it be action or flourish or bloom or
like it.
whatever, adventure. Having a word that affirms you and what you want to do this year and how you want to feel. That's a big one.
Well, I like that. I mean, for me, new hobbies I got given for Christmas. And I'm not an academic by any means. I never was at school. But my girlfriend actually gave me just a cool find a word book, and I've actually been. It's challenging. I quite like just sitting there. It's nice and relaxing, just doing that.
Yeah, very meditative of you.
Yeah, it's just a new small little hobby. I've got so many. I love being outdoors. I love doing new hobbies all the time. But that's going to be one for me that I can't wait to do. That's, there's obviously new passions. I love creating new content for the podcast. We're very keen on that. And we obviously want to try and bring in some new guests, so if you want to be on the podcast, just send in a message of what you want to talk about, and who knows, maybe we can tee that up. We'd love to get some new and fresh faces on the podcast and some interviews going.
Yeah,
for 2025.
Definitely. Yeah.
We'd love to do that. So you didn't have a word yet. What do you think aligns with you though? You mentioned a few there.
So I mentioned joy. Some others. You just want to find a motivational, positive word that aligns with you and what you want to create this year. And that's something you're totally in control of. And I mean, there's a great vocabulary out there. Find something like sensational or magnificent. Is that going to be your word? I don't know, maybe.
For me, it's definitely consistency and persistence. There's new consistency. I think everyone struggles with at times with either work or whatever their new hobby is for whatever reason, or the gym. Being consistent in that. But yeah, for me in 2025, I definitely want to just be consistent with my goals, be persistent, and just look at them every day and not give up on what I've got going for 2025. There's a lot cooking. And I think last year was successful, really successful. I feel like I turned the page a bit and just achieved a lot of goals that I thought was just 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. I just thought that was so out of reach, but now I'm looking at them going, wow, that's quite achievable. I had goals 10 years ago, really, really lengthy, thinking that's just not possible. And one of them came true last year. I'm like, you know what? It's actually not that far. Reach for that private jet and work out all the steps that are below it. I'm not saying, by the way, that I didn't achieve my private jet yet, but that is one of my goals. I'd love to get on a private jet.
Let's get a private charter.
I would love to get on a private jet.
Actually, that's a whole industry in interior design, is like the design of private jets and yachts and stuff. And I think that would be so cool. I'd love to pick out all the leathers and stuff.
Well, Chairlift Chats, get the chair. We've got the chats. Just design the plane and off we go.
But you know what I like about what you said before? You said something felt so unattainable and impossible before, but the word impossible itself says I'm possible.
Exactly. Well, I like that. Yeah. That's a good one because, it was very far-fetched, but last year I managed to get it and it was just such a great achievement. And this year the goal's extended, Yeah. So I can't wait.
Keep moving forward.
Exactly.
Yeah. So. And if you haven't had a good year, it's so easy to dwell on that. And I totally understand. This can be a really tricky time of year. But remember what you're in control of. You are in control of how you feel. And also, you have an impact on how others feel. So if you're going to say anything, use your words with kindness.
Okay. So I know you've got a cool quote down here. I like that. But I have got another quote.
Ooh, what have you got?
I got inspired.
Love quotes.
I got inspired by this. I popped up on Instagram and I saw it again. Matthew McConaughey, one of my favorite actors in Hollywood.
All right.
He came up. Well, he probably said the best acceptance speeches that I have ever seen at an
Wow.
Academy Awards or Oscars, whatever. It was an Oscar, I think he won.
Yeah, the Academy
Yeah,
Awards,
so
and you get awarded an Oscar.
Anyways, I saw that acceptance speech, and it was spoken with such humility. It just shows the family that he's come from, because he's just got amazing morals. Just the way he spoke was amazing. But it leads us into like what he said with, especially going into 2025, on what your goals are and things like that. And he said that he had someone come to him as a youngster and say, "Who is your hero?" And he said, "I don't know how to answer that. I'll come back to you in a couple of days." Anyways, he comes back in a couple of days and says to him, "My hero is me in 10 years. He's like, "I'm never going to be my hero because it gives me someone to keep on striving for." Wow. And I love that. I love that he's just, and I think that can be taken on by everyone. You're never going to be your hero, and you never want to be, because you want to be that hero in 10 years. And then when you get to that 10 years, put another 10 years on top of where you want to be.
Yeah.
And keep striving for that private jet. Keep striving for that 10-year goal where you think it's completely unattainable, but don't give up on it, like Matthew McConaughey. And I think that is possible. It's probably one of my favourite quotes of all time, because it's stuck with me forever. So for Matthew McConaughey, we're going to tag you in this video, because I would love to meet you, because I hope you love Chairlift Chats, because that was one of the best quotes I have ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think I love the visual that creates, because it's striving for something, but it's seeing yourself in that. You're visualizing you in 10 years time, and then you're looking back, and it's a very positive outlook, but it's very aspirational as well. I think that's really clever.
No, exactly. So that was my favorite quote.
Yeah.
That's my quote for 2025, and that's one that I'm going to have, ready for me. The Matthew McConaughey quote with hero. I like that. Yeah. And your quote, I see you've got one here.
I've got one. It's from C.S. Lewis, who's actually the author of Narnia. Okay. And I feel like this ties in really well with what Matthew McConaughey said. Okay. "You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." And
great quote.
What that says is, you can always be dreaming. You can always be striving for something. It doesn't have to be a new year, even though that's a very inspirational time. But keep on dreaming, keep on striving to be the best version of yourself, and just do everything with a cup of kindness.
Don't quit. Never say never.
No, because you know what? If it's really on your heart, if it's something that you're really aligned to, keep going. You will make it work.
Well, that's the first podcast for 2025.
Woo,
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
I hope you enjoyed our first podcast, and it's a great way to start the year with motivation. And we're going to be all over the place this year. We're going to be hopefully having some more guests on the podcast.
Matthew McConaughey.
Interviews. We're going to be, talking about various different topics. Lots of chairlift chats. We're going to be in Korea. We're going to be in Japan.
We're doing an Australia Day special.
We're going to be doing everything. So I hope you can tune in for 2025, and we'll see you on the flippity flip.
Bye.